Cool. So welcome to another summer episode of Africans Talk Football TV. It's been a minute since we were able to talk to everybody. As you see, it's just me and Salam here tonight. We weren't able to get the full crew, but with Copa America going on and with the Euros going on, we wanted to, get something out for you guys as the Euros, the group stages are done and we're about to get underway with the knockout rounds. And with Copa America just starting off, we have a summer full of football. So want to say thank you to all of you for tapping in, whether you're live with us right now or you're going to be catching this a little bit later. But before we start there, Salam, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good, man. Can't complain. A lot of soccer football on this summer. Got Euros in the day, and then Copa America at night. So a lot of football. Can't complain. Definitely enjoying the summer action for sure.
Yeah, man, it's honestly been crazy. Euros. I was talking about this with a few of my friends as far as this Euros tournament. It's
Yeah.
been exciting to say the least. How would you before we get into talking about it? How would you compare this Euros to the most recent Afcon? Because I've been talking with some friends as far as which has been the more exciting tournament, and there's always you can lean one way or the other, but I
Yeah.
know Afcon was a little bit ago, but as far as the group stages, do you think that it's lived up to what we saw in the Afcon this Euro so far?
Me personally, I think the start of this Euro tournament has not been better than Afcon. 100%. I think Gabriel may have said this in our group chat, but um, a lot of unders are smacking. You know what I'm saying? So that tells me that you know, which I mean, you could look at it as a good thing. A lot of these teams are evenly matched, but just like I don't know, I feel like no one looks good. No one looks like that great.
I agree.
In Copa too, not just in the Euros, but Afcon. I feel like the games were a lot more exciting. The teams definitely were a little bit more evenly matched up. Not taking away anything from these smaller countries in the Euros and what they're doing, but um, I just feel like I just expect a little bit more from these European teams. I mean, they say that this is the best tournament. That's not the World Cup, when you compare it to the Copa America and the Asian games. So, me personally, I would have to say no. Afcon was definitely better. Even the smaller teams in Afcon, I felt like always gave you a game.
Yeah.
Um, Now, the decision making, and obviously, a lot of people like to poke fun about like, wow, only this would happen in Afcon, but um, yeah, man, I think it was a lot more entertaining. And me personally, at least from the group stage, I expected a little bit more from the Euros.
I would agree. Yeah, especially with the unders smacking for sure. There have been a lot of 1-0 games, a lot of 1-1, not even a lot of 1-1 draws, but matches that have exceeded 3 goals have been few and far in between. But before we get into the Euros, which is going to probably be the meat and potatoes of this episode, want to talk about the Copa America a little bit. This got underway last week, Friday, I believe. First game with Argentina leading, and Copa. It's funny because these Southern American teams are very technical. They're super techy,
Yep.
but I feel like they all know each other very well, and it's a lot of it's way more physical. And with US being in the Copa America this year, it was good to see them start off on the right foot. But I want to start with the game that they had today. 2-1 loss to Panama. Balogun opened up the scoring in the first half, and then it seemed like right after that goal they equalized. Um, Fortunately, I was able to see the first half, but not the second half. So I'll let you talk about the second half. But USA, how do they look to you right now, and specifically today? how did they, how do you think we're going to fare in this tournament with Weah getting the red card? Obviously, that was a bonehead mistake, I would say. Just going ahead and punching the guy is obviously a no-no, but him being one of the guys in Europe, he's one of the leaders, I would say, one of the guys that we look forward to seeing on a daily basis or on a match to match basis, and obviously he won't be there for that third match. But as far as the US today, what were some of the takeaways for you?
I think in spite of the loss, I think that the start of the game told me that USA was the better team, the more threatening team. Obviously, the red card and the decision there by way heavily influenced the outcome of the game, and potentially the US's chances of getting out of the group. But um, today, I don't know. I think it's easy to say this like when after a loss or after you don't win, but um, me personally, I didn't agree with a few things from the lineup. One big thing for me, um, and that for me was not starting Yunus Musa in the midfield. I think we needed that grit, we needed that energy, we needed that fight. Um, and starting someone like, I mean, Adams is obviously going to play. Weston McKinney has to play. Um, but I don't know. I just feel like in a game like this, Gio Reyna to me is like a luxury player, in the sense of just like you know what he's in the game, he's in the team because of what he's gonna give you going forward. And I felt like today, especially against an opponent that they know very well, I felt like that was the more disappointing thing. Because obviously this is the US's first time in the Copa America. A lot of all the CONCACAF teams are have merged with the teams that are traditionally in the Copa America. So traditionally, going up against like some of these newer teams, obviously was going to be a little bit of a challenge. But some of these teams that like we've seen before, I felt like we got to take care of business. And obviously the red card was a stupid decision. I actually just saw it right now, and he blatantly swung on him. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know why he did that. But um, it's a tough position to be in, especially knowing who you have to play next.
Mhm.
You got to play Uruguay. You and I were talking about it earlier. At the moment, they were up 2-0. Palestri scored, and I believe Darwin scored as well too. So looks like they'll be on to the round of 16. So we'll see if how seriously they take this match. But today was a huge loss, and potentially it could be the end of their tournament if they don't get a win or well, no, I think they'd have to win. Correct.
I think we're in second here. Let me check the group. I believe we're in second in our group currently right now. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
So
USA is currently second on goal differential.
on goal differential. Okay, so we can't lose.
We can't lose, right?
We can't lose. But the problem is that Panama plays Bolivia,
Right.
and so I mean, if Panama beats Bolivia and if we tie, we're in trouble. So hopefully it doesn't come into that because me personally, I think that this is probably the most talented U.S. team that we've ever had at our disposal. Balogun scored an incredible goal today. Tim Weah, obviously, when he's on the field, like we know what he can do. Pulisic on the other side. And in that midfield of McKennie, Musa, and Tyler Adams, I mean, I think that that's a solid front six. Going into any tournament. So we'll see what happens. Today was a blow, but I mean, big game against Uruguay. So we'll see how they bounce back from this.
Yeah, I want to talk about Balogun, and specifically because 2 games, 2 goals. The U.S. has always had an issue with our striker. We've in the last 2 to 4 years specifically, we've kind of started to figure it out. I would say with our midfield, we started to get a little bit more solid in there, just like you said, with Tyler Adams, Weston McKinney, whether you want to put Reyna or Yunus Musa in there. We have real solid guys. They're all
Yeah.
young. Most of them are under 25. So they're all real athletes. They're, getting to that prime as far as strength and, just being a football player and kind of figuring it out.
Yep.
All these guys are playing in Europe now, so they're playing in some of the best leagues in the world. We just saw Pulisic get, man of the year for his team on AC Milan. So a lot of these guys are, filling in their boots in their own respect. But it's always been an issue with our number nine. We've never really had a target man, someone who we could rely on for goals. Sometimes you can't always rely on Pulisic when he's playing on the wing because they could double down. But now that we have Way on the right, Puli coming off the left, and Balogun up front, how do you think that, this front three looks like? For me, I've always thought that our weakest link was our nine, and now with Balogun having two goals in two games, I think we're figuring it out. What about you?
100%. I think that like I said earlier, I don't mean for this to be like recency bias, but this is easily the most talented front three we've had on paper. Um, I mean, like you said, our nine traditionally was usually like one of the weaker points. But now I look at that front three, and I mean, you could argue he's probably the at least the second most influential person. I mean, they're all good at what they do, but um, we just got to keep them healthy, and we just got to keep them together. But because those three are um, very talented, very compatible, and I think that like with time, I think that we'll see a little bit more chemistry, and they should be able to develop as individuals and as a collective and help move this team forward in an attacking sense. But I think Balagon being here is a huge plus for us. Ever since he declared for the U.S., um, obviously everybody knew that like this is probably the best striker on paper that we've had, but I mean, we could sit here and argue. For me, the best U.S. National League team striker in my eyes is easily Eddie Johnson. That's just my opinion. But we've had a few Edson Buttle. We've had but even some of these newer guys. Like, I'm sorry, but like I saw last week, I saw Ricardo Pepe play, and then it was like right after it was like Darwin Nunez played. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, wow, I don't know who had more of a like a just a wow performance like that. And not like in a good way. I just I don't know, man. Um at the moment, the only like clear nine that I see on this team is Balagon.
I'd agree.
And as far as like left wingers go, it's Pulisic, Tim Weah. I mean, you could probably put Gio Reyna there, but we need those guys to be healthy because if they're not healthy, then it's a big void to fill. So it's interesting to see how they fill the void of Tim Weah because he's incredible too. But hopefully Gio Reyna can step up and do that role. But low key, man, wanted to shout out Matt Turner too, man. I think he hurt his shoulder on the one play that the guy collided with him, and then he had to come off, and Ethan Horvath came on and finished the game. But he's gonna be a I don't know. I think he's our best keeper, but you know,
He has some deficiencies in his game.
I don't know. I just think it's crazy, bro. Like, what happened to Zach Steffen, bro? Like, you're not even on the team, bro. Like, I don't know, man. But we'll see. And shout out Miles Robinson too, man. Not Miles Robinson. Well, shout out
Miles,
Miles Robinson too, since he cat. But
Anthony
shout
Robinson,
out, yeah, Anthony. Is it
Anthony,
Anthony or Antoine? I don't know. But
Anthony.
the left back, definitely our best defender on the him and Tim Ream, the best defenders on the team.
Yeah, I think this, like, I would agree with you. This is definitely our most talented squad. And I mean, I was saying this even at the World Cup. I think this is a team that we have to grow with. And, you know, World Cup, they were all very young. They got that get out of the group stage under their belt. They unfortunately ran into a very strong Netherlands team in the round of 16 and weren't able to go forward. But these are that's where you kind of earn your stripes for me. And
Yeah.
now looking at them in this Copa America where they do have to go up against some of these physical Southern American teams, I think this is another test to kind of see where they are. Um, just like you said, Uruguay is strong. They're right now currently beating Bolivia 2-0. If you look at their roster, they got some ballers, so
Yeah.
it's going to be very, very interesting to see this third group stage game.
Question for you though. So obviously, I mean, we'll see how the tournament goes, but if the U.S. don't make it out, the person that's gonna get the blame is probably Berhalter. So like, what do you think would be like what would the team need to do in order for him to, I guess, stay in his role as manager? Because some people are saying that like if he doesn't reach XYZ, then he's gonna be out. So what is that for you?
So I don't know, man. I mean, I look at this team, and I mean, we've been saying that this is our most talented squad,
Yeah.
and and I don't know. I feel like we need someone to get us over the hump, because even when I look back to that Netherlands game, I believe we lost 3-1, but that third goal came in, the dying minutes, maybe like, in the last 10 minutes of the
Yeah.
match, 5 minutes of the match.
Yeah.
For a good portion of that, it was 2-1, and we had chances to score. Haji Wright, I believe, had a
Yep.
chance late in the match, and I think we're almost there, but we need a manager to get us over the hump. And I don't even think it's tactics wise. It's just one of those things where you need a manager to get over the hump. And I don't know what would Berhalter have to do. It's kind of like when we look at this England team, like, what does Southgate have to do? Because we look,
No,
you
that's
know what I'm
different.
saying? Like,
That's different. That's
it's
different.
different. It's totally different for sure, but it's the same in that very, very talented team. I mean, you've
Yeah.
seen them go to the finals of the Euros, the last Euros, semis, this past World Cup, but now they're kind of trending backwards. You kind of look at, we'll talk about Euros in a second, but you kind of look at what that English team is doing, and they're kind of tapering off. And when I look at this US team, I feel like we kind of have the same similarities where we have the talent, we have the guys, we finally have the players, but sometimes you just see certain mistakes on the pitch, and it goes back to how you train, it goes back to your manager, it goes back to, are we really set up to play the best against the opponents that we have? And so for me, I don't know necessarily exactly what we need, but I think we need a more seasoned guy, someone that's gone far in these international tournaments. Someone that has, the pedigree that people want to listen to him and actually learn from him. Because sometimes on the pitch, when you look at the U.S. play, it's kind of like we're kind of relying on these guys just to use their talent in order to beat some of these lesser teams.
Yeah.
Whereas, we should be pummeling some of these guys. Like some of these
Yeah.
teams we look at, even in the Confederations Cup, this, that, and the third, we should be beating these teams, some of these 3-0, 4-0, and it's just not all the way there yet. So, I mean, it's kind of like a lackluster answer, but I don't really have a specific thing that Berhalter needs to do, but I just don't know if necessarily he has what it takes to get us to that next level.
Mhm.
I look at this Uruguay team, they just appointed Bielsa, who's been all over the world, and when I look at them play, I'm like, okay, these guys, they know who they are. There's some sort of gusto to them. They're just attacking the ball. They kind of have that confidence to go, and so I think it's just one of those things. We need a manager to kind of give us that confidence to let us know we are who we think we are.
Facts.
But yeah, I mean, the US is in a good spot. It's just I would love to see us get far in some of these international tournaments. But before we go over to the Euros, I kind of wanted to piggyback on something that you said earlier. You're kind of saying that there's no real, like, I don't know if we said this on camera or if it was before we started recording, but you're like, a lot of these top teams don't look like top teams right now. We look at
No.
Brazil, they're kind of looking lackluster. Argentina's been able to get it done, but Gabriel and I watched that full Chile match. And unfortunately, they defended well for 86 minutes, 87 minutes. and it just took one little corner to ruin their almost victory lap. You know what I mean? And so Argentina has had their struggles. We've seen Brazil with their struggles. What do you think is going on so far with these guys?
I mean, obviously, every case is different for every team, every country. Um, but for me, man, I think the only teams I think from both competitions that I'm like, wow, okay, like they look good. Obviously, Argentina. I think that they just have this energy and aura about them right now that like they're in every game. Um, these guys, I mean, obviously Messi's like, he's even like where he is at right now in his career, he still finds moments to affect the game, and his teammates like I mean they fight for him, man. Like they run for him. They really like adore him, and like they want to like kind of do this for him. So like that team is the only team in the Copa where I'm like, okay, like they kind of have it together. Everyone else in Copa, I mean, the only team that I'm really expecting much from is Brazil. But I mean, we talked about this in our group chat a lot. Um, I mean, this Brazil team is just not what we're accustomed to seeing in previous years. Because I mean, you look at some of these guys, and no disrespect to them, but it's um, maybe we were just spoiled. To have guys like Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Rubinho, Kaká, all these guys, Cafu, Roberto Carlos, all on one team. And now it's like you're looking around and you have some guys like, I think guys like Marquinhos, I think guys like Militao, but then, Vinny, obviously, Rodrigo, but it's like, I don't know, like I don't know. It just seems as if like, first, like the midfield is just kind of just not where it needs to be. Their attack is just not where it needs to be. I think it seems as if I think teams, and we'll talk about England, but like I think teams look at what Real Madrid do, and Ancelotti just I don't even I'm sure that they have like a strategy, but like Ancelotti seems very like laid back and loose with his instructions. It seems as if he like lets the players kind of just take the initiative on like managing the moments of the games. Obviously, he does his thing, but I don't know, man. Like you're just letting Vinicius and Rodrigo just run around up top, like you know, and then I love Danilo. You've had a fantastic career, but you're still playing. I mean, like that's just kind of crazy, but not just on them, but France too. France in the Euros, one of the best teams in the world. Went to the last World Cup final. Won the previous World Cup. For whatever reason, I mean, Mbappe missed one game, so we can't really blame his absence as like really a problem. But um, I really couldn't put my finger on exactly what it is. All I know is that um, I don't know. Maybe everyone got better, or maybe some of these guys are you know kind of coming to the twilight of their careers. But who knows, man? Um, the only teams that I would say look good from the Euros, I would say Spain, um, Germany. Um, I like Turkey. I like Turkey.
They got something there, man.
Yeah, I
They got
I,
something there.
I like Turkey. They're low key like one of my dark horses, but um, I mean, I think those are the only teams. I think did Germany lose a game? I know they made it through early, but
Yeah, I believe they won all three.
okay, well
I
then,
believe they won all three.
um, I mean they got home field advantage too, so
They drew against Switzerland. Yeah,
that's
that's what
that. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I mean, they've been them in Spain to me have been the best teams in the tournament so far, but um, I mean, we'll see. I think with the knockout rounds, it's just one game, so I think we're really going to start seeing what some of these teams have, and if some of these more experienced teams can kind of kick on because um, I don't know. At the beginning of the tournament in the Euros, everyone was saying that like France has like a clear run at it,
Yeah.
like a very clear run. So like obviously that's not the case here, but um, Portugal too. Portugal has looked good.
Hmm.
I know they lost their last game 2-0, but Portugal has also looked good. From what I understand, though, from how the seeding has worked, a lot of the good teams are kind of stacked on like one
On
side of
one
the
side,
bracket. So we'll see who comes out. But um, yeah, um, for
yeah, man.
whatever reason,
Yeah, you might as well just hop into the Euros. What I want to do is kind of just go day by day, talk about those teams specifically, and then kind of give our predictions on what we think is going to happen. So Saturday we start with the knockout stage of the European Championship. The
okay.
first game we have is Switzerland versus Italy, rounding up at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Mm,
So let's talk about this Swiss team, and let's talk about this Italy team a little bit. Switzerland, they honestly Switzerland looked good. I know
they
they had
do. They
ups and
do.
downs in their group, but for the most part, they looked solid. Let's go to the Switzerland. They beat Hungary 3-1 to open up their campaign. There was a 1-1 draw against Scotland, and they also had the 1-1 draw against Germany with full crew scoring that 92nd minute,
Yeah.
you know, equalizer. But for the most part, they were able to control, a lot of the matches they were in, especially the Hungary match that they won 3-1. How do you feel about this Swiss team?
I like them. It's another team that has really surprised me this tournament. Um, you know, I, I'm always intrigued by watching some of these teams that have players that we're kind of accustomed to watching. A team, a player like Granit Xhaka, for example. Um, I think that he's been great. Not just him, but um, I feel like Embolo has been playing for them for a minute, and they
He's only 27 too, which is crazy.
they also have another a guy though who, yeah, Quadio Dua. They have like this young guy who's also been solid for them as well too. But um, yeah, man. I mean, you look at this team: Fabian Scher, Akanji, Summer in the back, not J Rodriguez, Ricardo Rodriguez. Um, they got some players, man. I'm sorry, I'm talking about Dan and Doy from
Okay,
Bologna. Yeah, and Doy. He's pretty solid. Not Dua. Shout out to Dua, but not you, bro. It's and Doy for sure. But no, I like the Swiss team. Um, I actually think that they're going to advance from this fixture. Um, just because I just don't see much from Italy, but um, very impressed with Switzerland. And as far I think that they did well the last Euros too, right? Or
yeah,
they at least they made it out the group.
yeah, they made it out their group. I believe 2 Euros ago they won.
Yeah,
Or was it? Yeah, 2 Euros ago they won.
yeah.
Was it last Euros?
Or was it Denmark? I think it was Denmark.
Denmark made it to the semis.
Yeah, because Denmark beat France.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, but I'm pretty sure Switzerland did well.
yeah. Switzerland. I feel like for the most part they get out of their group. They're one of those teams that you always have to watch out for. You know that Shaqiri is going to have a banger at
Yeah.
some point in this tournament. He's already had his in the group stage. Um, but yeah, Switzerland versus Italy. Italy was a little lackluster to me. They had a little bit of a difficult group. Started off by winning 2-1 against Albania. Then they lost to Spain 1-0, and then were able to equalize in the the dire minutes against
Yeah.
Croatia, give Croatia some heartbreak. Um, but I don't know. For me, when I look at this Italian team, there's no real guy there that I think takes them over the edge. And when I look at this Swiss team, Akanji has been probably one of the better defenders thus far this whole Euros. I mean, he's played so well that I feel like the rest of their team feels that confidence. Whenever your spine is good, Gabriel talks about the spine a lot. Your goalie, your center mids, your central defenders, and then your striker. Whenever you have a strong spine, I feel like the rest of the team kind of reverberates off that. And the way Akanji's been playing, and then when you go and look at Granit Xhaka up there, and then Mbolo, who's been a nuisance up top, they really have a strong spine. And so for me, when I look at Switzerland versus Italy, I kind of have Swiss winning that match, to be honest.
Yeah, me too, man. Like you said, I just don't see much from this Italian team. Coincidence. It's funny, the last time that they played, these two teams played each other was actually in the last Euros. Um, and Italy won 3-0. But um, that's not the same team as that they have now, and I think that they'll defend well. Italians are always known for defending well, but I'm just looking at like where are you guys gonna get goals? I mean, you don't really have like that you know I guess source of goals. I mean, guys like Insigne is not even on this team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like you have, I think Chiesa's had moments of like flashes of like okay, like post injury, I still got it. Skamaka, I just
I don't know what happened to him.
you just continue to show what you showed at West Ham at the beginning of the season last year, which was nothing. And then yeah, I mean everybody else. It's funny. I think about the Italian team, and the first person I think of is that the young center back with the guy with the long hair, Calafiori.
Oh, Caliafiore,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. He's the only person I think about, which is you know Italians used to have some strikers, man.
yeah. It's some real
Yeah,
guys up top. But
yeah.
but yeah. So Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard, Switzerland, Italy. I got the Swiss going through for sure. Not
Same.
for sure, but I have the Swiss. I'm leaning heavy on the Swiss there. The second match that day is going to be the home country Germany versus Denmark.
Mm,
Um, I don't know. Germany, man, they've looked very, very strong thus far. When I look at this German team, they have the home field advantage. Started off with a very, very crazy 5-1 match against Scotland to open up this Euros. Um, 2-0 against Hungary, and then that, you know, Swiss match ended up being 1-1, where Fulkrug was able to get the equalizer late. But
yeah,
and this is probably why I look at the Swiss team and I say, when you're able to almost beat a German team that's been very, very strong thus far in the Euros,
yeah,
I gotta hold some weight to that. But Germany right now, everything's firing. Jamal Musiala he's looking like a nuisance there.
but
Florian Wirtz, baller outside on the left as well. So when I look at their outside with Wirtz and Musiala, it's going to be tough for any defense to try to contain those two. And then Havertz is doing his thing. So far, he has a
yeah,
goal and assist. He's not your traditional striker. He's not your traditional number 9. I know he played there for Arsenal all year, but when you have that sort of talent, and then you have Gundo, Wirtz, and Musiala kind of behind him to give him to give him the balls to feed him in, it's going to be hard for any defense to kind of lock them two down. How do you feel about Germany so far?
nah, most definitely the best team in the tournament for me so far. Definitely shout out to Musiala. I believe that he's been the player of the tournament so far. Definitely has a case for that. Florian Wirtz has continued to show what he's shown all season, um, which is that he's a top player, and that a lot of these bigger clubs are probably going to be in for him here soon. Um, I mean, he's benching. I mean, both him and Musiala. I mean, you bench Sane. You got Sane coming off the bench. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Which is not saying much for me anymore. But I think it just says a lot about them. And like you said, Havertz is not your traditional nine, but I think he gets the job done. And I think that he's getting his goals too. So you got to give him credit as well too. But
Absolutely.
for me, I think the biggest you know plus or addition for Germany has been the return of Tony Cruz. I mean, I think that
I
that's like doesn't get mentioned enough. I think that his presence alone, his leadership, his experience, um, he just seems like locked in. He just seems hungry. I saw this video actually on Instagram. It was like this little like clip of saying like of just showing like how kind of intense and emotional and how just focused he was throughout the La Liga season because I guess he knew it was going to be his last season. So like he just he's really had like a really um a great year. And I don't know what's going to come out of this, but if he wins the Euros, I think that he has to be in that Ballon d'Or conversation.
I agree.
So
I agree. And to kind of piggyback off that, you were talking about Argentina and his, team, that team kind of rallying around Messi. With this being Tony Cruz's farewell tour,
yeah,
I feel the same for Germany. I mean, they're the host country first and foremost, so they have the fans. This team has looked good through, the group stages, and Tony Cruz is just playing at a crazy elite level. You know what I
yep.
mean? It's so good to see him back with this German team, and it's unfortunately, last when he wasn't there, you kind of saw what happened to that German team. They kind of crumbled, and
Facts.
now they have someone they could rally around. They have someone who's a boss in the midfield. His IQ is crazy. What he's able to do on and off the pitch is just, I mean, it goes to show why Germany is the way they are right now. It's going to be hard for Denmark, I feel like, to keep up with them. You
Yeah.
know, through their three matches in the group stage, they had three draws. So Ericsson has been playing well. Believe it or not, Ericsson's actually been showing up this tournament, I believe. I just don't think
Yeah.
they have the squad to compete with Germany, bro.
Yeah, shout out to Ericsson, man. Especially considering what happened the last Euros, and for him to come back and to get that goal is definitely it's a win for football, definitely. And shout out to him. Shout out to Rasmus. Less than two shots on goal all tournament.
I was gonna say,
Um,
what's up with your boy?
I don't know, bro. I just don't even think it's like all the way him though. I just think that it's just like I just I think for club and country, it's just he just doesn't get like service. He just doesn't, because for me with him, it's not like he's getting these Lukaku chances, and he keeps hitting it at the goalie.
That's
You
fair.
know what I'm saying? It's not like we're not having those conversations. We're saying like it's been 3 games, eh, not even one shot on target. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like I don't know. At some point, you got to look around and see what's going on. But um, yeah, I think beating Germany is going to be a tough task for this Denmark team.
I agree. So that's gonna be our Saturday slate. 12 Switzerland versus Italy, and then 3 Germany versus Denmark. Again, those are Eastern Standard Times because we're here in the US. But
Mhm.
Sunday. This is the day I'm looking forward to, at least initially, because on the 12 o'clock slate, we have England versus Slovakia.
Mhm.
We were talking a little bit about this English team earlier in the pod, and they're lackluster, man. I don't know what's going on with Southgate, but I don't want to say he's necessarily getting the lineups wrong, but because there's so much talent on that English team, you kind of have to start the guys that he's been starting. Don't get me wrong, but for whatever reason, there's just not enough creativity up top. Um, Saka and Foden kind of are looking not like themselves. I don't want to say they're putting up stinkers, but
They don't look good.
they not hooping like they usually been hooping. You know what I mean? And when I look at the Slovakia team, they kind of had a gritty uh group stage. They had the 1-0 win against Belgium to start it off, which everyone kind of didn't expect. The early goal in the 7th minute, and then just defended very, very well. They lost to Ukraine, which was it was kind of a little offsetting because no one really expected Ukraine to win that match, and then they were able to draw against Romania to go ahead and get through their group. But I kind of want to talk about this English team, man. What do you think is going on with them, and do you think Southgate kind of has to what do I want to say? Do you think he has to gamble a little bit with his lineup and maybe put in some guys that maybe normally wouldn't get the start? Or do you think he kind of needs to say, all right, obviously it's been 45 minutes, it's been 55 minutes. We're struggling to get a goal in. We're struggling to be creative up top. Let's put in some of these guys like Cole Palmer, like Kobe Mainu, like Anthony Gordon, because there's some killers on the bench. We haven't really seen Eze get a real run at it. You know, they have some guys that could potentially do something for them, but we're playing the same old, you know?
Yeah, 100% to your point. I think that there needs to be a little bit of courage of taking some of these more veteran guys out, especially if they're not really doing well. Um, it- but I think a lot of it also too is just you got to coach better, man. Like when I watch this team, it, like look at what Saka does for his club. Look at what Foden does for his club. They both come. They both of their respective clubs play fairly similar styles for the most part,
Hmm.
right? Um, and both of these players are ineffective. For me, I think what it looks like is just it's a collection of players, and he's just like figure it out with your guys' talent. You know what I'm saying? Like Saka, you do what you do in your system in Arsenal. Like Foden, you do what you do in your system. Harry Kane, you just run around everywhere and you pick up the ball from everywhere and you just you kick the ball 60 yards, switch the field, and then slowly join the attack. Jude Bellingham, just like what I was saying earlier with the Brazil team, like with the attackers, it's just kind of like you he doesn't really have any instruction. It's just kind of like just do what you do for Real Madrid. Like that works for Real Madrid. You know what I'm saying? Because of the players that they have. Like he can't just he hasn't looked good. But I also just think that at the beginning of the I mean, look at the goal that he scored. You know what I'm saying? Like at the during the first game, I think from all of the center attacking mids that England has, he's probably the only one that's physically strong enough to even put himself in that position to even get that type of opportunity. But um, I just think a lot of these guys really just don't know what they're doing, and it's very evident because you can see after England scored the first goal versus who did they play the first game? Who was that? Was it
Um,
Denmark?
no, it was Serbia.
It was
Serbia.
Serbia. As soon as they got the goal versus Serbia, it was like, oh, we just have to defend. Like
Yeah,
we're just like it was like watching United. It was just like I was like, holy, like bro, like we like y'all, not we, y'all have like you know what I'm saying, like this abundance of talent, and it's like you know. I don't think that it's a coincidence. I think that the players are instructed to play a certain way. The like very conservative. Um, I mean, I guess on the flip side of the argument, a lot of people do credit Southgate for that because at the end of the day, especially in these cup competitions, it's not about how you get there; it's just about getting there. Um, and and I think a lot of people obviously say like yeah, Southgate probably like you're either on either side of the fence. You're either yeah, Southgate is a really good manager and he's brought the vibes back and he's getting us far in tournaments, or it's he's holding these players back and he's very limited on what he could do. Well, he's at, or I should say, he's taken them as far as he can take them.
mhm.
But with the abundance of talent,
What do you think? Personally, what do you think?
I think he should be gone. But me personally, um, I think that will take care of itself after this tournament. It should because if he, I mean, think about it. The trajectory. If we go all the way back to the 2014 World Cup, no, I'm sorry, 2018 World Cup,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
That was that third place finish.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? That's and but even that team was like you had Kane was on that team, but you had like Lingard on that team. You had a few guys that were like kind of on their way out. And then you fast forward and it's like, all right, we're starting to kind of get our guys now. Some of them are in their primes. In the Euros, we get to a final. We lose the final. Okay, that's a part of the process. You know what I'm saying? And then you get to this past World Cup. What happened? Uh, you lost to you lost to a really good France team. Okay. And then we're back at square one. You know what I'm saying? At the Euros. So like I think if he doesn't win, like I don't see how they extend him because his contract runs out at the end of December. I don't see how they get far further than where they are with this guy. I would even like give what's the Newcastle coach's name? Like give him a chance, Eddie Howe or
Anyhow,
somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like you, I don't know, but I just look at England's players.
anyhow, crazy shout. I don't know why you said it.
I mean, he's just the only because you know they're going to try and keep it English.
Yeah, no, they'll
You
for
know what I'm
sure keep it.
saying?
There's way too many English guys for them to go outside the country, but
But when you think about like, I only brought him up just because he's the only one that's like, okay, like your brand of football is actually like, y'all actually play and y'all look decent. And you don't have the players that England has. Are you kidding me? Look at the players that England have. Like, why are we bringing eight defenders every time? Like, come on, bro.
yeah.
But I mean, honestly, bro, like
One of them's a left back, who's Luke Shaw, who's not even playing.
and this may be a hot take, but and I think I've kind of come to this conclusion, but I I think that Cole Palmer and Kobe Maynard need to be in the team, and that may be at the expense of well
Saka.
Trent. No, I think Saka has to go to left back, man.
Uh,
He's the only person. He's the only person that could.
Ian,
That's a,
Ian, Ian Wright. All
huh?
right. Didn't Ian
No,
Wright?
I'm telling you, no, righty. I'm with righty on this one, man. I really think,
Come
but
on.
it doesn't
He played
fit.
since like he was 17.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that
Oh,
like
5 years.
like what I'm saying is like there's nobody else on this team that can like do a job from that position. Like Trippier's not doing a job from that position. You know what I'm saying? That dude has to cut in every time to get it back on his right foot. Like
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not a naturally left-footed player. And to be very honest with you, Cole Palmer has looked like brilliant like every time that he's come on. So like he's really like kind of grown on me. Pause. Just like how like he's the real deal. He's the real deal. I think Kobe Manu came on and made an impact when he came on.
I agree. I think
Eh,
they both did. I think both
yeah,
Kobe and Cole, when they came on,
yeah,
you started to see the ball more in the attacking third for England, and you
yeah,
started to see a lot more potential chances. I wouldn't even call them half chances because they didn't really get too many, but you saw the ball being played more in their attacking third, and
yeah,
and give them more of a run. For me, I feel like, and I was reading something today that said, Cole Palmer, although he's young and although this is his first time like being on a first team and starting and getting the minutes that he should be, he was one of the only players on that England team that really had to kind of force the issue.
yeah,
The I'm a Chelsea fan. We had to rely on him.
yeah,
What's his name? Uh our manager said this isn't Cole Palmer FC, and then he goes out for one match and we get pummeled by 4 goals.
yeah.
So it's clear that it was Cole Palmer FC, at least this past year. And
Yeah,
for
he's
a
a better.
kid like him to have the responsibility to have 40 plus GA in his first real season starting, he understands that sometimes you need to do. He has that mentality like, okay, I have to go win this game, or okay, I have to go make something happen. And I feel like if you give him more of a run, give Manu more of a run, we might start to see some.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if you're not gonna, like, you being Southgate, if you're not gonna coach, then put someone on who's been coached by, like, probably the best manager of this generation. You know, like, even for you guys, I see it. Like, he's coaching on the field. He's telling them, and he's kind of like, he kind of throws his hands up in the air when you're not making the run that you're supposed to make. So that tells me that, like, that guy can see the game at a different, like,
Mhm.
layer and, like, level than some of these other guys. Because, and it's not a coincidence, to your point, like, the ball retention was better when those two were on. Why? Because, I mean, they're just better footballers with better minds. And, I think, but, the manager will take care of itself. I can't wait to see another exit. I don't see them getting to the quarterfinals. Well, no, if they win here, they would get into the
They when they get
quarterfinals.
to the corners, yeah.
I think the quarters will be it. Because if they, listen, bro,
They're on the weaker side of the
they
bracket, so
they play.
on paper, they have an
Correct,
easier chance to make
correct,
the
correct.
quarters, semis.
But my thing is who do they play now? They play who?
They play Slovakia.
If they score against Slovakia, we know exactly what they're gonna do right after, which is
Sit.
defend. They're gonna sit, and you're gonna absorb pressure. And in a competition like that, you know,
Anything can happen, man.
yeah, bro. So underwhelming, but it's what we expected.
Yeah, so, also on Sunday, we see Spain versus Georgia.
Mm,
Um, Spain, 3 matches in the group stage, 3 wins, 3-0 against Croatia to open up
yeah,
their campaign. They beat Italy 1-0 on an own goal. Italy kinda looked good that game, to be honest. Spain definitely controlled the match, but, sometimes and I wanna talk about that too. So many own goals through the group stages. I believe we had, like, 8 or 9, which has
yep,
been unreal. And then, Torres was able to get his goal against Albania to finish out their group stage with 3 wins in 3 matches. Georgia, it came down to the very, very last day for them. They had to beat Portugal. They were able to beat Portugal 2-0. Shout out Kavar, Kvaratskhelia was his name, Kavicha. Uh,
yeah,
baller, very, very good, Napoli talent. And, they lost 3-1 to Turkey, were able to draw against Czechia,
yep,
Czechia. I'm not exactly sure. The old Czech Republic.
yep.
But, for this Georgia team, I just want to say shout out to them. Currently ranked 74th in the world.
Mm,
This is their first major tournament for them to get out of the group stages in their first major tournament. Hats off to them because that's just massive,
yep,
especially when you're going into your final match and you have to beat Portugal, who's, one of the best teams in the world right now.
yeah,
Has, I would say, probably the best, second best roster if we're looking at just on paper right now in the Euros. Um, and obviously, it was the B team because Portugal had won their first 2 matches, so they were already through. But shout out to them. But I say all that to say, Spain probably gonna take this one.
oh yeah, for sure. We the Georgia um have done really well. Carvajal, he played really well against Portugal. Definitely is he's trying to get a move, for
Mhm.
sure. This summer, which it looks like he probably will. But they're another team who's had, like, a really good run this tournament. I mean, their first time ever. Then for him to, I remember me texting into the group. I was like, bro, I don't even know one single player, like, on this team. And then I
Hard
went to I went to I went to the app to go look at the lineup, and I was like, oh damn, like, he's here. So I was like, but, he's the type of player that, like, he's the type of player that could, like, will a country to, like, doing something. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It'd be like him. It'd be like the Lewandowskis, the like, don't worry, I got it. And you got to give them credit, but unfortunately, they come up against a really good Spain team. Probably the most complete team, in my opinion. I think that they're so well balanced. I think that in the back they look solid. I have to give credit to some of these guys because to be very honest with you, bro, when I looked at their back four, I was like Cucurella and like Nacho Fernandez and Danny Carvajal. I was like, wow, I've seen a lot better backlines than that. So you got to give them credit. Defensively, they've been sound. Their midfield, Rodri, Pedri, and Ruiz, they've been solid. And then their front three, man, it's like really well balanced. You got two young, up and coming, exciting wingers in Yamal and Williams. And then Morata for Spain, man's always been solid. So, um, yeah, they definitely have a really well balanced team. They can hurt you in a lot of different ways. Um, they've definitely come a long way since
Tiki Taka of the mid
the
2010s.
yeah, they don't really play like that anymore.
Hmm.
But I think most definitely they got something brewing here and definitely have bounced back for what's been a few poor tournaments for Spain. I
I
feel
would,
like the past few years. So most definitely.
yeah, I would agree. And then shout out to Georgia's their other guy up top. I don't want to butcher his name, but George's Mika Taudza.
Let me
No,
see.
I know I'm saying that wrong, but he's currently leading the Golden Boot in the Euros right now. He's got 3 goals, 1 assist.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he scored in all of their matches. He's their guy. I mean, he's been able to will them clearly to like
Yeah.
him and
Yeah.
Kavar. They those two were leading the charge, and so like I said, shout out to Georgia. I think it's a real tall task for them to take on this Spanish team because this Spanish team is just going crazy right now. But
For
I saw
sure.
something funny about that Spanish team. So Yamal technically isn't able to play past I think like 10 p.m. or something, like
Oh
9 p.m.
wow.
because of German. It's like
Curfew.
not well curfew, but it's like child labor laws. He's only
Oh
16,
damn.
so if you're under 18, they don't allow you to to work
Yeah,
past
yeah.
a certain time.
He
And
gonna play the first half.
yeah, a lot of these games are late, so they're talking about Spain maybe being fined, which I thought was crazy. You can't even get that lifted for a tournament.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that's ridiculous.
I think it's kind of crazy, but I saw something about that the other day on one of these sites, and I was like, interesting. I wonder if they actually go through with it, but yeah, shout out Yamal, man. He's one of those guys that's going to be very, very fun to watch for a very long time.
Yeah.
And kind of like what you were saying earlier, they've come a long way from that tiki taka football of the Iniestas, Chavis, way back when Spain was on their dominance run in the mid 2010s when they won the Euros and the World Cup. But they have a lot of young guys who are able to run. They have a lot of athletic guys. They have a lot of technical guys. When you even look at the Pedris, when you look
Yeah.
at you know some of these guys that they have, so it's fun to watch this Spanish team now because it's definitely a new generation, is a new crop, but they have some ballers. They have
For
some
sure.
real ballers. So the Spanish team is going to be fun to watch for a while. Heading into Monday, first game is France versus Belgium.
Wow.
I think that's going to be a very, very interesting matchup.
For sure.
I mean, we talked about this French team. They were able to beat Austria on an own goal, and then their second match was 0-0 against the Netherlands. And then finally, Kylian Mbappe opens up his goal scoring in the Euros. Finally got his first goal, which was off of a penalty. It was a clear pen. Um, but then Lewandowski was able to get a pen on his own, and shout out to Lua, man. He's never been able to do it for his country, but he always somehow gets on the score sheet. But
Yeah.
but yeah, man, this French team, they almost were in the round of 16 with no goals scored from a French player until Mbappe got the penalty on the third match. Let's talk about it. I mean, they have such a high powered offense, but for some reason they kind of looked a little lackluster. What do you think it is?
I don't know, man. That's another team where, on paper, they didn't really lose anybody. If anything, they gained a lot more pieces. Like N'Golo Conte wasn't really a part of this team last time.
Hmm.
He's come back and looked great. Um, and I don't know. It's disappointing, like even in the back, you like Saliba's now starting. We all thought Saliba probably, um, like this is the appropriate time for to start him definitely. And um, this team on paper, you would have thought like going into this here, like they would have kind of maintained or kind of taken that next step up. So the fact that they haven't isn't um is concerning for sure. All that I know is that like they can't lose to Belgium. Like you can't lose to Belgium. You have too much to beat them. I know it's tough because they have Kevin De Bruyne, but um, I guess that's why you have N'Golo Kante. Because um, I think it would be a massive disappointment if Belgium pulled off I'm calling it an upset, 100%. I think it'd be a big upset if they beat France and knock them off. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised considering like their form, but the like in the group stage. But the one thing that I will say though is um I feel like when Mbappe's like back is up up against the wall, like he rises, and that World Cup final was proof of that. So um I believe that they'll be able to beat Belgium. I actually have it going into overtime and then them winning in overtime before
What do you
penalty.
think? What do you think is going on with it? Well, I mean, we can look at Lukaku, but this Belgium team, we've said this in the past, but their golden era has been over for a little bit now.
Yeah.
I thought 2014 was their year. Obviously, it didn't happen then, and then 2018 was even worse. But for this Belgium team, what do you think it'll take for them to potentially upset this French team? Because they got the players, but it just hasn't looked right. And we could look at Lukaku. I mean, before we started recording, we were talking about some of the chances that he's had and just made a blunder of them,
Yeah.
for lack of better words.
I mean, it's tough, man. I think that they have a really good team as well too. It's not the previous team of like previous competitions. Like they definitely have some new guys in there, and by new guys, I mean still guys that are playing like regularly for their teams, but no, Axel Witzel, right? He's not there. Guys like what Vertonghen, guys that were traditionally like used to seeing like aren't there anymore, but um, new guys like Onana, people who have been there for a while, like Tielemans, Doku. I mean, like these are good players. I just think Belgium just has this like they have this like knack of like just playing down to their opponents. Even when they were solid, like with Hazard and them at their prime, I always felt like Iceland could sneak y'all anytime. Like what I'm saying, like it's any given time. Like a team like Iceland uh could sneak this team, but I don't really know like what it's gonna take going forward. Considering the all time leading goal scorer for that country and arguably the best player for that country ever is probably gonna be this is probably gonna be their last competition.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not really quite sure where they go from here, bro. To be very honest with you, I think like next year, and this may sound crazy, but like I think we're gonna look at them the same way that we look at Denmark and all these other teams. You know what I'm saying? These teams that like we know we recognize like oh they got some players, but like they're not Germany, they're not France, they're not Spain.
Yeah.
You kind of just go back to being in that class.
That's
I would even say that like shit, if they played Turkey, Turkey would beat them. I think.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. They have the play. So what do you think their issue is then? Do you think it's just they play down to their opponents? Do you think it's their manager? Do you think it's just like the cohesiveness on the pitch?
Yeah, I think more so is that. I think they have a new manager. So obviously, they're probably not going to be as cohesive as some of these other teams. It's also hard as a new coach to come in and you got two senior players with the stature of Lukaku and De Bruyne. So to really implement what you want to do sometimes may be difficult because you got to also respect and acknowledge that these guys are probably at the latter parts of their career, so you got to kind of accommodate them a little bit more. But um I mean, I don't know, man. I really think that they just need a little bit more in the back, and a little bit more reinforcement in the midfield because you know you got to let KDB just kind of just do his thing in the attacking third, and just in order for you to do that though, you need runners in the box. You need runners, and I just feel as if like you know Lukaku doesn't do that in the front three, and then he doesn't do that in the midfield. So it's just you got holes everywhere, and like your defense isn't as great as it was. Courtois is not in the lineup, so I don't know, or at least I didn't see Courtois the last game. I don't know if he's
Yeah,
been here,
yeah, I'm
um,
not sure either, to be honest.
but I think it's just poor timing, man. Poor timing on their part. They have a lot of things a lot of new things that they're working through, a lot of change that's happening. But I also just think that out of their control, all the teams that um, are around like now are just kind of better or just kind of right there with them. So it's tough for them, especially going into next year or next tournament. Like I don't know if Lukaku and De Bruyne will still be around in 2 years. We'll see at the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I would agree 100%. All right, moving on from Belgium because they're sad, man. Whenever I think about Belgium, I just think about how Hazard deserved more.
Yeah, that's sad, man.
Yeah, it's sad. But yeah, so the second game would be Portugal versus Slovenia.
Hmm.
As we were just talking about a little bit earlier, Portugal had a very, very strong start to the tournament. Two wins in their group stage, and then the loss obviously against Turkey to put Turkey through. But or not Turkey. Who was the team name? Um, Georgia, not Turkey.
Georgia.
But Slovenia had a pretty interesting start. They they were another team that had three draws, and the three draws were enough to take them through. Shout out to them getting the draw against England. They also played against Serbia and then Denmark. Um, the Slovenian team, do you see any surprises there, or are we just going with Portugal?
Um, nah, man, I gotta ride with Portugal, man. I think they've looked great in the first two games. I think the last game was kind of a throwaway game for them. Um, I think my biggest concern for Portugal um is just like what are you gonna do like with I don't know. I just feel like Ronaldo just is kind of like it's one of those things where he's just kind of like in the way, kind of like not really like in the way, but it's just kind of like I don't know, man. Like,
So that's my thing. He's actually played well this tournament versus the World Cup, where I feel like he kind of was a hindrance. I
yeah,
feel like this tournament, yes, he hasn't been the Ronaldo from a decade ago, but I don't
yeah,
see him in the way as much as he was in the World Cup. I feel like the team has learned how to play with him on the pitch and without him.
yeah.
You're starting to see him even be a little bit more selfish. We saw that pass to Bruno
Bruno.
in that second match for Bruno to get that goal. The team is still with him. I would say
Yeah,
the team is still. I mean, it's Cristiano Ronaldo, bro. He's about to. It's like playing with LeBron at this point. You know what he's done in the past. You know that he's on his way out, but he still has a lot to offer. And so for me, when I look at Ronaldo, I mean, he almost had that goal this past match from 35 yards out. It was a great save by the keeper. It was right to him, but I still think Ronaldo has a lot to offer. And where I thought he was a little bit of their Achilles heel during the World Cup, now he's actually
Mm,
able to offer what I think a veteran in his age should be able to offer. That's just me though.
yeah.
Some
I
people
just
disagree with me, but
yeah, I just think that it's gonna come to a point where um I think it's okay in the last game, right? In the last game that in the group stage of just like let him just and I'm not saying by any means that like I don't know, I guess I am saying that. I just feel I almost feel as if like they have a better chance with the Ramos guy coming off the bench. Like a,
Goncalo,
a little bit early though. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying like, hey, listen, man, you got an hour. And then after that hour hits, Ramos is coming in
yeah,
because I don't know, man. I'm just looking at like, Leao hasn't really been anything special.
hmm
But I also just feel like he's just kind of like, you know, he's a little timid because like he feels like he has to feed Ronaldo, so he can't really kind of, be himself.
hmm
Um, you know, because he's still relatively young. All the other guys I feel like do well with him, like Bernardo Silva, Bruno, like all of them guys like do well, but it's just
because
kind
they
of like
played with him before. I mean, isn't this Leao's first real tournament?
no, I mean he was in the World Cup, but even then, but I mean, he was coming off the bench though, so
Yeah, that's what
it
I'm saying. It's
wasn't.
like this is his first like.
Yeah,
I guess you could call World Cup his first real tournament. I shouldn't say that.
yeah. I mean, yeah, he started. I think he started a few games then as well too in the World Cup. But
He did.
um, I would love to see Portugal, go far, potentially win this. I know this is Mike's pick to win the Euros. And I hate to say that because I love Ronaldo, but I don't know, man. Sometimes I just feel as if like he- I don't know, man. You got to start making decisions, especially like we're in the round of 16 now. If you lose, you go home. And you saw how lethal Ramos was with the hat trick. So I mean, you know, you win this, you're in the quarters, and then you got 3 games left. You just gotta win 3 more games. Um, but yeah, I would love to see him get a Euros to tap, you know, cap it off.
Yeah, he's got one. He's already got one.
Yeah, he's already got one.
But
He,
yeah,
he got that was the Eder goal, right? Eder.
I don't even remember who scored, but
Yeah,
I
it was
did.
Eder, number 9, the black
Yeah,
guy with the braids.
yeah, you're right. I remember he didn't like he got called off in the first 10 minutes because he was hurt. He couldn't go through.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
was
I
in the
think he
final.
got hurt like in the semis, and then he tried to play in the finals, but he just couldn't
Yeah,
do it. But I mean, up until then, he got him there, so you
yeah,
gotta. He definitely deserved it. But yeah, that Portugal team is strong. I personally, I think they have either the best or the second best roster. When you look top to bottom, who they can bring off the bench, who they're starting with,
yeah.
they got killers, man. They got killers. And then last day of our group or our round of 16 matches, Tuesday, July 2nd, the 12 o'clock game, we have Romania versus the Netherlands. Romania's had an very interesting group stage. They beat Ukraine 3-0, and then they lost to Belgium 2-0, and then ended up drawing against Slovakia
Mm,
to get through in that group. And then the Netherlands. This has been my dark horse the whole tournament. They've also been a little up and down. They started off with a 2-1 win against Poland. They had the 0-0 draw against France, and then they ended up losing to Austria 3-2, in which I think was probably one of the best matches
for
in
sure.
all of the group stage. I mean, I literally was at home watching this match like, yo, like jumping up and down type, like, yo,
Yeah,
they just scored. Oh, they just scored back. Like, yo,
yeah,
Austria can get through. Like, it was one of those for me. Um, so yeah, shout out to Austria because they needed to win that match in order to go ahead and get through in their group. But Netherlands, I think they have a very strong team. I like this Netherlands team a lot. Xavi Simons has been one of my favorite young players for the last 3 years now. I like it. It's finally good to see him like on a world stage because he was one of those guys who I thought, he's going to be up there with the Florian Wirtz and you know like he's in that next crop under like the Vinny, Haaland,
Yeah,
and
yeah. He's
Mbappe.
up there.
He's right there with Florian Wirtz. He's right there with Musiala. He's right there with you know Kvaratskhelia. He's right in like if we're gonna call Mbappe, Haaland, and Vinny like A class, I
Yeah,
think he's like B plus A minus. Like I really think
that's
he's right
fair.
there. So I've been rooting for this Dutch team specifically because I want to see him do well. But I think they have a squad. They top to bottom. Virgil's still looking like Virgil. He's had some some blunders in the group stage, but he's still probably the best defender in the tournament. I would say him and Akanji have looked very very strong. Um, Memphis is being Memphis. I like seeing Memphis do well also. I don't know. I just like this team. I
Yeah,
like a lot of
they got a good bunch of guys you can root for.
yeah, they got a
100%.
whole bunch of guys you could root for. So I really want to see them do well. So I'm pulling for them. Um, what do you think about Romania? Another one of those teams that it was good to see them get through. You don't really see Romania on a world stage like this, but do you think they have enough in order to beat this Netherlands team?
No, I don't, man, and it sucks because I feel like besides the Italy game, I feel like I went with all of the favorites. But I don't see how they do it, man. I think the Netherlands showed that they showed grit. Um, I think that one game was it the first game where or no, maybe that was the Turkey game where Val Veghorst came off the bench and he scored.
Yeah, no, that was their first against Poland. Yep.
Yeah, that was the winner.
Hmm.
And um I mean Netherlands has always been that team like they do well in tournaments and I mean they did well last World Cup as well too. They just came up against Argentina.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, another solid team, another another group of guys where I feel as if like they're all balanced in the sense of like you got some young guys, you got some veterans, you got some guys in their prime right now. Good leadership. They're in a very good spot. I got them going to the semis. Um,
Okay.
so hopefully they're able to take care of business here. Um, and yeah, man, we'll see what happens. They got a bunch of guys that um, I like watching. Frimpong, Memphis. I mean Virgil, obviously. So
And they're doing
it'll
all
be
this without Frankie.
yeah,
Unfortunately, he got hurt right before the tournament started. Very, very, very big blow to that team. But
yep,
but yeah, like you always say, injuries are part of the game, and you got to adapt.
yeah, it
And
happens.
this Netherlands team, this Dutch team, I'm rooting for him, man. I know I'm being real heavy on the Dutch right now, but I really, really do want to see this team do well. They just got a lot of guys, like you said, that you can root for, and they have a strong squad. So it'd be good to see them go far in this tournament.
I gotta ask you a question before I forget. So you said Xavi Simons. I wanted to ask you about two people, and then this third person came into my head, but I don't know if he's in the right class. So start subcell. Um, Xavi Simons, Cole Palmer, Florian Witz.
Hmm. That's actually really good. They all are they're all in the same class. I think they're all the same age. Florian might be 21. I think the other two. I think Florian and Xavi are 21. Cole Palmer 22.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually tough.
For
Um,
me, there's one that like stands out as like you're number one, but I want to. I want to hear.
I think I would start Verts.
Okay, that me too.
Yeah, I think you would have to start Verts. I mean, coming off the ACL and doing what he did this past season for Leverkusen is crazy. I
Yeah,
mean, I was a big fan of Verts before the ACL tear, and I was really curious to see how he came back off of that. And he is a baller, bro. He's
yeah.
really my guys like to watch in these next coming years. Damn, you really gonna put my boy against Xavi. Oh my gosh.
Gotta go with CP, man.
I would have to bench CP and sell Simone's just
Yeah,
because I gotta go with my Chelsea lad, man. I
that's
like I, I can't 40 GA
yeah,
in
yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah.
your
Uh,
inaugural season in the
It
Prem.
speaks for itself. It speaks
Come
for
on,
itself.
man, I can't. I have to. I literally have to go with him, and then yeah, unfortunately, I got to sell Xavi. But that's not to say that Xavi isn't the type of player that can change can change a squad. But I still
Yeah,
think as far as talent level right now, he's definitely third on that list. But I think he has a very high ceiling. That's the thing. I don't think we've seen everything that he has to offer yet. I think he's one of those guys that from year to year we'll see him consistently get better, and then he'll hit a peak, in the next couple of years or so.
yeah. I saw. I thought Wits was like the one that's like, he's like head and shoulders above them for me. But
Yeah.
I was like, maybe he would be in. Well, I wouldn't even consider him like in the Yamal category, or
But it's,
maybe. I mean,
I mean, it's crazy because Jamal's 16, but what I've seen him do is like,
he just
dang, you're
continues
only
to ascend
16.
to me. Yeah,
It's like you're 16.
yeah,
I don't even know where to classify you because like there's
yeah,
no one in your age group that's even on your
yeah,
level,
yeah. That's
So
a
it's
fact.
like we kind of have to put you in the next class with these. Like I
With
don't
the
want to
guys.
put Saka, but Saka's 22,
Yeah,
and
he's a man. He's a
yeah.
man.
So it's crazy, but yeah, man. I think those are good comparisons. I mean, that's definitely like the next class of guys that we're gonna watch for the next decade or so. Um, and then the last match that we have in our round of 16 is going to be Austria versus Turkey. And this is interesting
This is
because
a big game. This is
it's
a
going to
good
be a
game.
very, very big match. I mean, when you look at this Austria team, their only loss in the group stage was to France, and it was off an own goal. And I watched that match. I watched a good portion of that match. That team looked up for it. They were able to beat Poland 3-1, and then they ended up beating Netherlands. And like I said, I think the best match of this tournament 3-2. And like when you look at this Austria team, there aren't like a lot of names that stick out to you. They have Sabitzer, they have there was someone else on their team that
Arnautovic.
Arnautovic, but shout out Sabi, man.
Alaba.
Shout out Sabi, Marcel. That
Yeah.
guy, he's a real leader, and unfortunately United wasn't able to keep him, but I think he would have done you guys a very, very, very big,
Couldn't
he would
afford him.
be beneficial for your team for real, man. It's crazy that you guys weren't able to keep him. It makes
We,
no sense.
we couldn't afford it. We couldn't pay 25 million. We couldn't afford him.
Thought that was chump change. Ain't y'all the biggest club in the world?
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
But
E-
yeah,
even some rich people go to DH Gate.
that's crazy. That's how rich stay rich, huh? Bargain shoppers.
You know what I'm saying? Bargain shoppers. Yeah.
That's crazy. But no, this Austria team, and I mean it, even for avid football watchers like us, I don't think we looked at this Austria squad like, okay, like they're going to be one of those teams to watch for in this tournament. But this is a crazy dark horse. And then when you look at this Turkey team, I mean, we are talking about them earlier. Another squad that doesn't really have, the names, but when you look at the squad themselves,
Yep.
they're gritty, man, and they're willing to fight, and they have techie players as well. Arda Güler, shout out to him, the young boy over at Madrid who's making a name for himself. They have I don't want to butcher his name again, but the guy that's leading the Golden Boot with 3 goals, 1 assist.
Oh,
He's a player, man. He's able to
yeah.
score goals, and he's doing very, very well up top. He's annoying the defense. I've watched a lot of these Turkey matches just because they've been in line with my schedule when I work from home. And so when I look at this match, for me, this is probably going to be the most interesting matchup of this round of 16. And I'm kind of glad that it's the last one. So everyone kind of has their eyes on it.
Yeah.
Um, I think it could go either way. I don't really have a winner. I would probably say, based on what I've seen, I might think that Austria has it just because of the teams that they had to beat to get here, and the way that they played to get here. But it's tough. This one's tough. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
I know we both said that Turkey is a really good team, definitely one of the surprises, but I think Austria does have the better team overall.
mhm,
I certainly think that they have, um, which to me is probably one of the biggest reasons that Austria is where they are. The manager, you know,
yep.
Ralph Ragnick, you know, Mr. Rolls Royce himself, the Phantom. Yeah, Ralph Ragnick, man. Um, I think ultimately he's going to be the factor that pushes them over because I feel like player for player, I feel like they're kind of like right there. You know what I'm saying? I think the best player on the field is probably Turkish.
Mhm,
Um, between that Kognahalu
and Arda.
and Arda,
Mhm,
leaning towards Arda, but um, yeah, I think Ralph Ragnick is going to help them get through. Um, and I read something interesting today. David Alaba obviously is injured, but he's getting his coaching on as well too. He's helping with the coaching staff, so for him to be there and for his um, leadership and experience, I think that that's huge for them. So I
agreed.
got them being Turkey.
Agreed. And honestly, I wanted to say that shout out to him because he easily could have stayed at home. He easily could have just been like, you know what, I'm not playing. Let me just. But for him to actually go on the pitch and be there, and you could see the happiness in his eyes for his squad. When
Yeah,
they were on top of the group. They won their group, and for him to be there every step of the way and kind of just cheering them on and letting them know like, hey, we can do this. Hey, we can do this. I think this with him and with Ragnick. We were kind of talking about this earlier. What do you think that England needs, or what do we think that the US needs? And is a manager. The right manager can change a whole lot, and for them to have a manager and a veteran like Alaba on the bench, kind of tweaking and telling them where to go and kind of seeing the game from a different level, it's
yeah,
going to be interesting to watch this Austria team as they go through, this knockout stage.
yeah, for sure. Credit to them. All tournament, I feel like they've been solid. So, um, yeah, hopefully they can continue their run. But I mean, I wouldn't be mad seeing Turkey go through either. But I think um, I think one of these two teams have the capabilities of playing spoiler to one of the bigger
Oh,
teams.
100%.
So
100%. They could
they
ruin
gotta
some home.
they they gotta be careful. I got the winner of this game in the semis as well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Interesting. Hold on. Let me see what happens. So if they get
Because
through, they would
they're on
play.
the England side, right?
Yeah, but they would play the winner of Netherlands versus Romania. So that
Yeah,
would be
I
their
think they could
quarter.
sneak. They could sneak them.
That'd be their quarters.
Like if I was one of the smaller teams, there's a few teams where I'd be like, I wouldn't mind seeing y'all. Netherlands
Facts.
would be one of those teams. I'd be
Facts.
like, give me Netherlands.
Yeah.
If Belgium won, give me Belgium.
Facts.
But but I think like the only team that I really wouldn't want to see right now is Germany and Spain. Even France, I would be like, well, just as long as we can keep him up top, you know what I'm saying? Like just as long as we can keep an eye on him. But yeah, Spain and Germany are the two that I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I think even Portugal, bro. I think Portugal could get snuck 100%. Don't get me started on England.
Yeah, no,
England,
we're not talking England. We know who they are. We definitely.
yeah. So, um, no, but I think that that's all the games, correct?
Yeah, that's all the games. That rounds out our round of 16 right there.
Okay. Well, um, I think on Monday USA also plays Uruguay, so we can do a quick one for that. Who do you have, Uruguay or USA?
Man, I got Uruguay. I just saw them smack Bolivia 5-0.
Yeah. Oh, damn, it's 5 now.
Yeah, it's over, but it
Wow.
was, they peppered them in the end.
Oh
I mean,
yeah. It's just they're just warming up. They're
You
warming up.
know, with as much as Weah's an idiot, he's
Yeah.
honestly one of our better players, and I feel like without him on the pitch, we're at a huge loss.
Yeah, bro, he's missing the game too. Like that's the crazy part. It's like
No,
not only did you get sent off, you're missing a game, bro.
it's sad. It's honest, and as a Liberian, you know, I look at my machine and I'm like, my man, what are you doing? Yeah, it's just like, my man, what are you doing?
Yeah, bro.
Sad.
Bro,
It's
he must have he I would have loved to be in the locker room with him. I would have been like, bro, what did he say? Cause you
you know,
for
bro.
you feel me? What did he say? What did he say, bro?
Yo,
You know what I'm saying? If he didn't say anything about, Mom Dukes or a sibling, then hey, oh no, man, he
I
got
don't.
the Zidane treatment. Um, nah, man, but yeah, two great tournaments, honestly, to kind of keep, to kind of give us our football fix for the summer. And it's crazy because at the end of well, shit, by the end of Copas, I think preseason starts, right? Well, I mean, I think like for our club teams, like I think some teams have to report to training like here soon. But
Yeah, I'm not exactly
um,
sure, but I mean, it'll be August because you're right. I mean, Prem
yeah,
starts like end of August, so
yeah. So um, yeah, football's summer's gonna be moving quick, and football's gonna be back here before we know it. And um, I mean, we also have the opportunity of going to watch Man City and Chelsea play in Columbus, so that'll be fun. Um, I asked Yasser. I said, "Hey, are you gonna go with us, or are you coming?" He said, "Absolutely not."
for what?
The Man City Chelsea
Oh,
game.
Man
He's
City,
like,
Chelsea.
I was
Hey,
like, "What? You
I ain't gonna
you're
hold
not coming?"
I ain't gonna hold you. I've never seen Chelsea play live. I might cry.
Yeah,
I really might
Mike has been
cry.
before. Mike went one time,
I've
but
never never
I've
seen.
never seen a Premier League team. Well, I watched the Columbus Crew play West Ham
Okay.
one time, so like I've seen West Ham play, but um, yeah, I've never seen two Premier League teams um play. But he said they could be playing in my backyard, and and I would close the shutters.
That's crazy.
I was like, man, if that isn't a Yasser answer, then I don't know what
Hey,
is.
I respect it though. I respect it.
I know.
I fully respect it, bro.
He said I would close the curtains. I was like, bro, I'm literally going to watch both my ops. Like I'm, but I mean, for you guys, I'm not even trying to talk shit, but like for you guys, I think like most of your players should be there, right? Because I mean,
Yeah,
you don't really have like I mean, Caicedo won't be there, Cole Palmer won't be there, Malo Gusto probably won't be there, but I mean, Reese James will be there. What
Malo
Nkuku?
Malo will be there.
Malo's not going to the Olympics.
Oh, actually, I didn't even think about that. I forgot about the Olympics.
Yeah,
Um,
he's going to the
yeah,
Olympics,
he probably will be at the Olympics. You're right.
but Nkuku,
And Cuckoo will
right?
probably be at the Olympics. Yeah,
Oh damn, he's young enough still.
he's like
No.
23 or 24. If
Oh
I'm
damn,
not
so he's one of the OGs.
Yeah, hold on. Let me check. Let me check.
He gonna be rocking the captain's armband if he goes.
You know?
But yeah, but most of your guys, I feel like should be there. Like Modue. Well, I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna go to the Olympics or not. But
Let me look at this guy. Christopher Nkunku. No, he's 26. So yeah, he should be there. He can go to the Olympics. So so yeah, I mean, so this is my thing. It'll be fun to see them, but I don't know how much of I don't what do I want to say? I don't know how much of that preseason match is going to tell about my Chelsea team.
yeah. I think it's more so just to kind of see some of the guys that um potentially could get chances or probably just need to get loaned out. But I felt like last year's preseason was the preseason to go to because the World Cup was in, like
The winter.
the the winter, so like everybody kind of had like it was everyone's first like, wow, this is preseason. Like there is no games, there is no competition.
Yeah.
It's just we have the summer off until um we come back. So but nah, man, good episode. Do you have anybody you want to shout out?
Mm, nah. Shout out. Shout out Balagon.
Okay.
Shout out Balagon.
I was gonna say shout out Ralph Ragnick. Um yeah. And you know what? I did want to briefly touch on this before we go. Um Sounds like Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to be coming to Man United to coach
Massive.
alongside another coach that I'm blanking on his name, but I saw a video of him and
That black guy.
yeah, he looked pretty intense. But um, I think Ruud coming in is going to be huge for the coaching staff.
I,
There's been a few talks about a few of the guys leaving, um, possibly McLaren, but I think having Rude coming in is going to be huge. So I'm very excited, and hopefully he can make an impact on the team. But um, and as soon as I start talking about Man United, young Trinity comes in here. Eric Ten Hag out still. But see, even him, he would tell you. Even him, he would tell you that Van Nistelrooy coming in is a great move for us.
I
It's a
agree.
great move for us.
I agree.
Yeah, bro. Credibility, someone with credibility, someone that you can respect, someone that you know has done it in the shirt that you're wearing.
I
So
was
like
just about to say
so um I think it's gonna be think it's gonna be massive. I agree. It's gonna be a great move and I mean we'll see, man. We just need the players to buy in. But that's for another episode. We gotta do um our season recap slash preview. Here maybe we could wait until
that.
first
Yeah,
week
wait,
off.
the boys are back.
After the boys are back, yeah, from holidays. So, but yeah, man, good episode tonight. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, and as always, good luck to you in your future endeavors.